For those who don't know me, I'm from West Hartford, and my mom's in the audience here. And Mom, you're the one standing, she's got a can. People wonder sometimes why I'm into the Second Amendment and why it's so important to me, because I got in the race April 4th, 2 hours after the governor signed the gun bill, SB 1160, 2013. The buses of kids were leaving for the show they put on at the Capitol, and I went in and registered full in. I'm not taking taxpayers' money, I don't believe in it. And so we're living off the land. We've been in the race over 11 months. And it looks like pretty soon we're going to be national with a lot of the ideas we have, on, especially the Second Amendment. Now, I was born across the street from Colts Park. My mom's right here, where they made the Peacemaker. So it's a little funny as you look back at your own history where you were born. The Second Amendment for me is totally constitutional. It was the last straw. I ran against John Larson in 2008. Horrible year to be a Republican, but we did it, and we did pretty good for a bad year. The first district is very gerrymandered, but I learned a lot on the federal issues, which I believe are going to help me as your next governor. There is a path to victory for me. I'm not in this because it's just to make a statement. And there will be a primary no matter what. I believe John McKinney will stay in the race with Foley, and there will be a primary. If I'm forced to get signatures for whatever runoff happens in a convention, I will do that. Many people may know me from West Hartford, fighting Blueback Square 10 years ago. I spent 2 years of my life fighting a development, not for the development, but for the no-bid development, where cronyism, like Malloy is doing across the state, we had developers coming in from overseas with a no-bid contract that they were able to get $48 million in bonding. You must have heard about it. Well, as of last year, 2013, the developers sold, as I predicted. They left America with the profits. They were never tied to the 20-year bonds. And again, I was ahead of the curve. And it's not here to talk about me like I'm ahead of the curve, but a lot of us are. The Tea Party, we were ahead of the curve. We knew what was happening to us in 2009. And last year, again, proved it. You're seeing last year was a great year to unveil so many injustices that have been happening to groups. So I fought hard, and I fight the liberals in West Hartford. I've done it for 10 years. I'll give you some of the names of the people that are at the highest state level today, so you know who I'll be dealing with as your governor. Some of them will be in there again. Beth Bai with the transgender bathroom bill. She's in my area. Andy Fleischman, who's basically the Common Core leader in the state, and he is in my district in West Hartford. Kevin Sullivan, the tax man cometh. He was the old mayor and lieutenant governor. And Jonathan Harris, the executive director of the Democrat Party, he was the mayor I fought during Blueback. All these people I've been fighting, they've been moving up the chain. I know how they think, I know what they're up to, and I've been fighting them. And I use the word fight because your next governor, if we end up in the minority and we get someone that's not willing to go to the people, not courageous enough to reach out with the bully pulpit in the streets to the people, as evidence shows that we're going to lose our credit rating. Connecticut is just about ready to lose the credit rating. If that happens, pensions, everything is going to unravel. And I believe that there's a lot of, as you know, smoke and mirrors on the budget. I'm not going to go into all the negative. Right here, you just go to my website, Visconti for Governor, there's cards. You will see this article. It came out last August, Forbes. How did rich Connecticut morph into one of America's worst performing economies? It's an expose that's so sobering for the last 70 years, what liberal ideology did, good intentions, and how they destroyed it. So to take back Connecticut, it's going to take us 7 to 10 years to turn the ship around, because the ship is on fire and the ship is sinking. We can't overpromise. We're going to have to turn around slowly. And if you go to my website, you'll see over 30 videos that I put out with Palin Smith, with my own productions. Low budget, we do them. I have an Emmy Award for my TV work, but I take my Mac Pro and we go out, we put the messages out at no cost to the taxpayer on issues. I'll go as deep as you want on any detail of an issue, even if it's, you know, too cumbersome for someone to watch one video on one issue, you'll see it on another. Another thing here is the Yankee Institute. I'm going to give you factual information so you can go search it out yourself. They have a list of lasts, yankeeinstitute.org. Rob Simmons, former Congressman Rob Simmons, is the chairman of yankeeinstitute.org, and they have a list of last. And again, we're last in achievement gas. We're last for our credit rating. We're just last. And again, I don't want to go too negative because Forbes really lays it out. But everyone knows where we are. So let me talk about the race before I talk about some issues, so you get a feeling for what's happening. Now, John McKinney and I, we've been battling for a long time on the gun issue. I spent an hour with John in his office before the gun vote. I pleaded with John not to vote for the gun vote. I brought some ideas. I knew in a year it would be where we are. So I told John what would happen, and it's happening. I met with Len Fasano also. I spoke to someone today about that while the Senate was debating voting on SB 1160 and to try to get him. So we were in the offices trying to get our own Republicans not to vote for this law because it was something that never went unconstitutional. It didn't address, and this is what the Quinnipiac poll showed this week, it did not address the school safety and mental illness enough. In fact, the Q poll showed the majority of people polled this week said the gun bill went too far. Just this week that happened. And where did it go too far? The only place it went, and that's to declare your magazines and to register your assault weapons. So on April 11th, on live TV, I will tell you, everyone, and I've been putting it all over for the last month, what my plans are to push back on 1160 as your governor. I'll save it for TV. The Hartford Current is having a debate at the Mark Twain House. Hopefully all the candidates will be there. And it'll be live on Fox 61 on April 11th. And I will roll out to the public. I'm going to make sure it's television. My ideas and how we're going to do it. I've been speaking to lawyers and think tanks and groups about this issue, just how a governor can do it and still get elected. Because the majority of the people realize it's unconstitutional. Last night I spent until 2 o'clock in the morning talking, getting incoming phone calls from Minutemen across America who are coming here. Right now this is happening. North Carolina, Pennsylvania, they're coming here to defend people that did not follow SB 1160. And I'm here in the race because a year ago I knew we'd be here. Because Connecticut residents want to make this a stand. And people across the nation want to make this a stand on 2/8. I don't want violence. I actually got beat up a little bit, putting out a video on New Year's Eve where I spent 11 hours at the Department of Public Safety asking people to conform with the law because I feared we were going to be here. So anything anyone wants to tell you about me, no violence, follow the law. I registered my 2 magazines that I have. They were 1 bullet over the limit. To me it didn't matter. I had 2 magazines, but all in all, it wasn't about complying for me. It was more about, I wanted to go through the process of getting a notarized document to do it, and I did that. Got the notarized document, filled out the form, brought it to the Department of Public Safety, spoke to hundreds of people, men and women, that were registering and declaring and were confused on New Year's Eve. They didn't know. They had guns, some guns, a lot of people came in late, so they didn't know if it was a rifle, it was a shotgun, do they have a magazine, what do they have to register? This thing came down, although it was 6 or 7 months later after the law. I'm saying this all about guns because it is another issue that puts Malloy out of office. It's a one-issue voter. We're expecting 200,000 to 300,000 easy that will be one issues, and the majority are unaffiliated Democrats. And we know that from our internals and our live interviews that issue was. It's the last straw for me, and it's the last straw for a lot of people, seeing the government infringing on our rights. With education, Common Core is infringing on our educational and parental rights. So we're seeing in Connecticut the land of liberalism, I'll call it. Liberalism, a star burns bright before it burns out. And it's going to burn out in Connecticut before it burns out anywhere else in America, because this is where they're pushing it. And why the Minutemen are coming is because they don't want, like a lot of other social issues that went national, they realize if they don't come here now to help us peacefully, if they don't come here to support us, it'll be in their state, in their neighborhood, and they don't want it. So this is historic. I knew it a year ago when I got in the race that there would be no other candidate that would go up against this, and there is none. Tom Foley basically said if a bill comes across his desk, he would sign it to repeal the law. Well, I'm going to go further than that, and you'll hear about that on April 11th.